Staying obsessed with the customer and what they care about, that's how you win long-term in business. You don't need 1 million people to love you.
Right.
If you can find 1,000 people that are absolutely obsessed with your company, that is all you need for that to spread like wildfire. And I think it starts with one fan.
You mentioned, just as a side note, that AI could answer phones. I went up to you after and just said, did you say? I can tell you that in the process of testing it, we repeatedly were just tickled and we would like laugh out loud. We were so happy. Even my dad, who's 78, he would call me and say, Joss, this is unbelievable.
Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast, the playbook for building unmistakable brands that grow, lead, and last in the built world. I'm Stephanie Couch, the founder of Grit Blueprint, and I'm a lifelong building industry insider. I was raised here, built my career here, and now my team and I help others win here. The truth is, you can be the best option in your space and still lose to someone else who simply shows up better and more consistently. Each week on the Grit Blueprint, I'm going to show you how to stand out, earn trust, and turn your brand into a competitive advantage that lasts. If you're ready to be seen, known, chosen, and become unmistakable, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Thank you for joining me on the Grit Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Couch, and I'm coming to you live from the Indianapolis Convention Center. I'm here today at the Do It Best Group Market, and I have a very special guest, one of my friends that I met actually last year at the spring market.
Right.
And we actually have been working on a project together. You also have a 92-year-old store chain in the Boise, Idaho area with 12 stores. Jos Zamzow, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've been working on a pretty cool project together. So I want to talk about your stores first and the amazing history you have. And then I want to get into this AI stuff because we're innovating and testing some things out.
Right.
But tell me a little bit about your 12 stores. What do you sell? What do you do? And how did they get started?
Our business started with our great-grandparents, August and Carmelita Zamzow, and they sold their farm in the worst year of the Depression in 1933 and bought a little feed store. And they were literally mixing feed formulas on the floor with a shovel and then making 100-pound bags and carrying them out and adapting those formulas for the local population according to what kind of things that the animals needed.
Where was the first store?
The first store was on Fairview Avenue in Boise, Idaho. And literally, one patch of concrete, the rest of it was all wood floor. That was their mixing station. Fast forward 20 years, my grandfather then purchased another feed mill and created, we got a little bit heavier into the feed business, but all along that time, you can't sell feed without selling a shovel or some twine or whatever. And so the business has kind of grown alongside. And then when my dad took over with his brother in the 70s, they kind of expanded the lawn and garden portion of our business. And then in the 80s, we really embraced pet. And so while we had always sold, even from the 50s, we were selling dog food and other things. Pet wasn't really a division until about the 80s. And now we kind of do a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, and you've got crazy millennials like me that are obsessed with their golden retriever that are like, I'll buy whatever it is.
Right.
It doesn't matter, the price or the thing.
Right.
So you've got the pet stuff, which piqued my interest a lot because you do some really cool events and some things in the community. This summer you had was it a Frisbee contest? Yeah. So tell me about that.
Well, the Frisbee Fest, this is our 33rd year of doing the Frisbee Fest, but it's all designed to be a donation for the local shelters. People, they sign up in store and get a little Frisbee with our name on it. And then we set up a course where we've marked off the distances, and we have a couple of radio personalities do the announcing and people literally throw the Frisbee, the dog runs down and catches it. And there's a style portion and a distance, and also the little tiny dogs have their own division. But it's really fun, and we get as many people come to watch as do to participate.
Yeah,
and all for a good cause. So it's a cool event.
I feel like I need to be there next year.
Totally.
It sounds so fun. But you really have a lot of cool stuff for pets. You have your own line of dog food.
Right.
How did that come to be?
my dad in the early 80s, he really wanted to introduce people to premium food. And at the time, Science Diet was the big brand of premium food, but it was veterinarian only.
Yeah.
And so he started looking around trying to find one. He found a mink food called Iams. They were just feeding minks, and as he started looking at it, he's thinking, I think this would also be good for dogs. And we actually became the exclusive Iams dealer for all the Northwest when we were transitioning it from mink food to dog food. And then as that became a big corporation and things changed there, we realized we had to create our own.
Wow.
And so we've been making our own dog food for a long, long time. And just like every phase, that whole environment is changing really drastically right now. And it's hard to stay on top. It takes a lot of effort and innovation to be involved in that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that struck me about you and your sister, Callie, who's in the business as well. But you're now fourth generation.
Right, Callie and I are.
And it sounds like your family's been pretty darn innovative and really willing to take a risk, take a change, and actually go out there and try something for the whole time that your family. So it must run in your veins for sure.
It does. But I think also I think when somebody shows you like we have in our family how you can. I mean, we're bootstrappers. So I'd like to tell you that we developed a dog food and then built $1 million plant. And that's not how we do it. You know, a lot of times you're building a 1-ton batch of dog food and you're putting it out there. You're literally sharing it with customers and say, hey, feed this and tell me what you think. And if you hit it and it works, then it starts to grow from there. I think once somebody shows you that blueprint, you realize, man, I don't have to have $10 million to start something. I can really start small and grow. And we've just done it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I want to double click on that a little bit because taking like the hardware, the lawn and garden, all that out of it, just in general, for people that are listening to this that maybe think they want to start something or think they want to expand in their business they already have, I believe that's such a great point.
Yeah.
Because it is easy to think, I'll do this when I get this capital, or I'll do this when I have this skill. And what I've found my whole life is you'll probably never have enough time. You'll probably never have enough money.
Right.
And you most likely won't know how to do anything until you try it and probably screw up several hundred times.
Right.
And I think that spirit of being able to say, I'm going to do this anyway, even though I'm not really prepared, I don't have the money, and I'm not sure if it's going to work out.
Right.
What's a time that you've seen that happen and then you're like, I don't know what's going to happen, and then it works out?
When the whole thing with Iams happened, I mean, literally a huge portion of our business was selling and distributing Iams pet food. And then when they became a big corporation and took that away from us, that was like, what are we going to do? I mean, this is such a huge portion of what we're doing. And I think it's like a generational confidence of, you know, even great grandma, who she lived to be 104.
Wow.
She was still alive at that time. And people are having conversations around the dinner table saying, you know, we did that with this particular feed. Grandpa got sideways with Purina in the 50s. And so we've had these experiences where we say, all right, here's major changes in what we do, and we're going to have to try something different. And I think my thought would be, for people that want to try something different, it's about the people who have the passion for the product. And if you're standing in front of a display, even if you only own 5 bags, that's all you got is 5 bags. But if you're standing there with passion, you know, that's worth more than borrowing $1 million and having an ad agency in Chicago build you a campaign.
I agree. And especially because grassroots, like on the ground, people that love your stuff, you can sell those 5 bags of dog food to 5 people that love it and tell 5 more people each. And then that's how you get a following. And I read a book recently about something called raving. Called Superfans, but it talks about raving fans. And I'm going to actually talk about this today in my learning session. I think we all get really caught up a lot of times. I know I do, especially because you see people going viral. They're getting 1 million views. They have 1 million followers. But you don't really need that, especially in a small business where you're in a local market. You don't need 1 million people to love you.
Right.
If you can find 1,000 people that are absolutely obsessed with your company, your locations, your products, that is all you need for that to spread like
Right.
wildfire. And I think it starts with one fan. And if you can't have a product, Amazon, Jeff Bezos started in his garage, obsessed over the customer.
Right.
And he's built this giant thing that's become this whole other deal. And whether you love or hate him, it shows you that staying obsessed with the customer and what they care about, that's how you win long-term in business.
Absolutely. And I think the other piece of it is, if you start off with a product that's genuinely good, not just looks good.
Yeah.
And I think I can't speak for this show. It's not set up yet, but at a lot of the other shows, this is the year of packaging. It seems like maybe it's tariffs or whatever. Nobody's innovated any products. They've just changed packaging, right? And I think that's fine and good to a point. What our experience is that if people have a product and it works, it doesn't matter whether it's something that cleans your deck or something that gives your dog some relief from joint pain. If it doesn't work, people don't care if the packaging looks good or if the colors are modern.
The packaging is going to go in the trash anyway once you start using the product.
I mean, the packaging maybe helps it get them in the dog's mouth, but it doesn't get them to come back. It's the dog can jump up in the truck now. That's when people say, whoa. Yeah. And honestly, at our locations, our packaging is never national standard. We do a lot of craft. And a lot of simple things with stick-on labels because that's what we can do. Yeah. But the products work and people respond to that.
Yeah. And also, I do think people like that anti-modernism a little bit.
Right.
My husband and I talk about that a lot. I think people want things that feel nostalgic. There's stuff that I grew up with that I would literally, I'll give you a super Southern example. Okay. So you're probably not going to know what this is when I say it. There is this boiled peanuts stand. So I'm going to spell it for you because I don't know if you can hear me. B-O-I-L-E-D. That's my Georgia twang. So they're just water, salt, and peanuts. That's all it is. Pretty simple. And if you don't love them, you hate them. Like there's no in between. But this guy has a little trailer with one of those little noodly arm men and a burn barrel that just has smoke coming out of it. And every weekend, if he's there, I stop and get those peanuts.
Right.
And it's because I grew up eating them and there's something about it, but the product's good. And it's just in a styrofoam cup and I don't care.
Yeah, right. It's not
so
fancy. That's
like you said, it's what do you love and and here I am on a podcast telling you about Robert's Peanuts. So it's cool to see that. What kind of other customer experiences? Because I know you guys have a lot of experts in your store, especially around lawn and garden, where if you don't know what you're doing, you might tell someone something that could kill your grass.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about how you breed that in your culture.
We do a training every 6 weeks. We literally take half. We have about 250 employees, so we take about half of them, like Wednesday morning, for example, and the other half of the staff mans the store, and then Thursday morning we do the other half. And we regularly add a segment of just customer service. What does customer service beyond people's expectations look like? And we talk to people about what, these are the things that we've done in the past that have made a difference. And I think people want to provide good service. They don't always know how, I'm saying, and people mean our employees.
Sure.
And a lot of our customers are so used to bad service, they're not even sure how to take it. And especially, we train about how to approach somebody, we call it the chem wall, where people are trying to figure out what bug to kill or what weed to kill. We're teaching them, and if you walk up to the wall and say, "Can I help you?" people will always say no. Yeah. But they're desperate for help. Like they really need help. Right. And so there's a technique to walking up and breaking the ice a little bit so that they will say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to have you help me." Yeah. Because they're used to just saying, "No, get away. I don't want help." Or
somebody can't really help. They ask that out of obligation, but then they don't know what the answer is. There's a lot of places you go that is the case. So what do you tell them to say to people?
We always encourage them to ask open questions. And everybody has their own style. My style was always to say, what are you trying to kill today? Or something silly, but we'll walk this Do It Best show. And we're looking for products, but we're also looking for stories, and we're looking for companies that will help us tell those stories. Because if our people, if they find a new mop that's really different, and they say, "No, the lady who built this came to our training and showed it to us, and here's how this thing works," people will buy a mop even if they weren't thinking about buying a mop, because they love a story, they love the information.
Yeah, I think storytelling is probably the most undervalued thing in business. Because if you think about what you remember from a movie or from something that happened in your life, it almost always has a story around it. And people love the brand stories that relate to them. So I love dogs. We've already established that. If someone has a golden retriever in their commercial, I'm going to pay attention. And then if it's I think about the Subaru commercial where the golden retriever family's driving. Basically every commercial has a dog in it now, but like the Aflac goat with Nick Saban and Deion Sanders, that story that they're telling around that, if you like animals, if you like football, all those things resonate. I think that's perfect for you to be looking for that. This episode of the Grit Blueprint podcast was sponsored by Do It Best Group. Do It Best Group is the largest co-op in the world, and they help independent hardware and lumber yards all over North America win. Do It Best offers services, products, and people that can help you win long term. They are the champion of independence. What makes a good story, in your opinion? Like, what are you looking for when you walk around looking for a story?
So we bring a group of buyers. And we talk about, before we start the show, I say, don't walk past the guy that doesn't have a fancy booth, because those are those opportunities where you'll have somebody there and they just sneaked into the show at the last minute and they don't have all their stuff together, but they've got a great product that nobody's heard of. And that's what we're looking for. And we've got we've done business with most of the places that are here, but the ones that are brand new, those are the ones where a lot of times we'll say, hey, if we were to place a pretty good sized order, will you come to Idaho and train our people? And they always look at each other and say, yes.
That's awesome.
And then they come and share that same passion with our employees, which they pick up, even if it's just a mop, if we're going to use that example, they can feel the passion from the mop inventor and they want to pass that on too.
Yeah. Well, and this fall show is really great for you guys with the lawn and garden because they've got everything here that's going to be hot in the spring. So I'm sure you'll find, I love the flower section and all of that. And I know you guys have a ton of that. You have plants, you have garden stuff, food garden things. I think it's really cool. I can't wait to come see one of your stores.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about our project we've been working on.
Right.
So in the spring, you came to one of my sessions. It was at the Do It Best Knowledge Hub.
Yeah.
And I was speaking on innovation in branding, social media, and AI was a part of it. That was in March. So AI voice agents had actually just come out. It's kind of crazy how fast AI is moving because there's things that were here, in March. Now they're totally different and exponentially better now in the fall. But tell me a little bit about that session. Like what struck you from that, and what was the thing that piqued your interest?
Well, we were. One of the things that's hard for us is in the peak of garden season, we're so busy that we cannot effectively answer the phone. And even if we would want to, I've told my people, if you have 3 people standing in front of you in store, don't you answer that phone. But at the same time, those people calling are potential customers. And so you'd like to answer the phone, but we're for sure not going to interrupt the conversation we're having in store to do that. And so we were struggling with that. And we've looked at different answering services and sending it off to India and whatever else. And you mentioned, just as a side note, that AI could answer phones. And I went up to you after and just said, did you say, and you said, yeah, it's brand new, but we can do this. And the thing that blew me away, and it was, I said, well, this has got to be a really long process. Like, how long does this take? And you said, probably we could have one up that could do basic stuff next week. And it was like, okay, I'll call you.
We were on a call next week talking about it, I think.
Right.
It's really cool because, like I said, that really had just come out. I think we had started testing it in January or February, and so you were kind of a beta, like first test.
Right.
And so kudos to you for having a problem and being risky enough to say, let's see what happens.
Right.
The good news is the phone calls weren't being answered anyway, so it's hopefully not going to hurt anything to try it. One of the things I think is crazy is small businesses, over 70% of phone calls go missed.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people don't call back. So it is a huge problem. And you just can't throw enough bodies at that, especially like you said, if someone's in front of you, you got to take care of that customer in the flesh.
And I did the math. I did back of the napkin calculation. I just said, all right, if I hired someone and put them in the office and didn't let them go down to help customers. And they just sat there with a headset and answered the phone. I still wouldn't be able to answer phones when they took a break or at lunch or after hours.
Yeah.
And two, in order for them to be able to answer questions, I would have to have an employee who was seasoned.
Yeah.
Which means I would have to take someone really good off the floor and put them in the office, which didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so this is a really fascinating concept, and we're learning an awful lot about it every single day.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
not perfect. It's not perfect.
No, and I think that's the thing that I think about a lot is, I've trained a lot of people. You've trained a lot of people. I worked in a hardware store, in a lumber yard, and I've worked in technical products.
Yeah.
Kind of like the grass thing where, hey, you use the wrong pesticide or, product, you could kill some grass. Well, you mess up a door with one wrong click somewhere. But people screw up too. So I think that's the thing is like with AI, you're never going to have something that'll answer every single question under the sun, no matter what the context is. But it gets them to a point to where you can answer the phone, answer basic questions, answer some pretty advanced questions, and then get them to a human that can at least not lose the phone call because we didn't answer it all.
Well, and I can tell you that in the process of testing it, we repeatedly were just tickled, and we would like laugh out loud. We were so happy with some of the things that our chat bot was able to answer that were beyond. I mean, if I hire a new, like a high school graduate cashier, those employees cannot answer those questions. Yeah. And so in some ways, far better than an entry-level employee. And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that.
Yeah, and we named her. So tell us about what we named her.
So we named her Faye, which is my mom's name. And so that nobody else knows that. That was kind of a fun piece of, tying the whole family together. But I think over the summer and through this process, we have a record of each interaction. We know what people were asking and what she told them, and we're able to make adjustments to how that, and there was a lot at the very beginning, and now it's just fine tuning. Yeah. Just getting slightly better all the time.
And one of the things that's cool is you do get that full transcript, but you can also get it just a little summary, an email or a text saying, hey, Stephanie called. She wants to know about pet food. Call her back. Here's her name and phone number and email. Or that person that just wants directions or something simple like store hours. Do you sell lawn and garden stuff at this store? It's instant.
Instant. And we were able to create it so that it doesn't answer questions randomly. It doesn't pull random information. It pulls from information that we want it to. So it recommends the products that we want it to recommend. Yeah. That was one of the things that was really important to us. I didn't want the chatbot recommending products we didn't sell or things that we don't do in our area of the country that would be improper. And we were able to get all that done.
So what would you say to someone who is on the fence? It's like, I don't know if I want to put this into my business. I hear, people say, I don't know if people are going to like AI, and not everyone does like AI. So what would you say to people that maybe are like, I don't know if this was a good idea or not?
The reality about AI, at least for the next year or so, we'll see how it plays out, is the people that call our stores, they're still looking up the phone number and calling the stores. That's a certain generation. We don't even have to label the generation, but it's a certain generation. And those people are not instantly warm to AI. And what we're learning, our latest version of this is we're not going to say that it's AI. We're going to just have Faye say, hi, I'm Faye. How can I help you? Instead of saying, I'm an AI chatbot, because people freak out, but the reality is, even my dad, who's 78, when he got to talking to her, he would call me and say, Jos, this is unbelievable. I mean, she calculated the exact number of cubic feet of potting soil I needed for a planting bed. How many of your people could do that on the phone? And I said, well, not very many. I mean, right off. I mean, they could do it if they, called them back, but right instantly, not very many. And so there's a lot of those things that I think once people have good experiences with it, and they realize that if my choice is getting somebody from Bangladesh who doesn't speak super clean English, who's really just going to give me stock answers and take a message anyway, I'd rather talk to an AI agent that you've created a database of information from it to pull from.
Yeah.
It's kind of like talking to you because we've kind of built it in our own image.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we're going to be working on next that I'm really excited about, and we've talked about a lot, is using it to internally train your teams, because you're already doing these trainings, but you have to take time off the floor on Wednesday and Thursday. You're doing just one training. It's not, hey, I don't know this thing. Can I go do a training now, or can I learn about this? So we're going to weave that in, and we're going to figure out how we can use it for other things, especially like a chat bot. We've got a website chat bot about to go live, which is going to pull from that same exact knowledge base. I think one of the biggest things that is either a make or break is how good is your knowledge base. Right. Because if you just do it with a standard, scrape of your website, if your website's really great, then that's going to be good. If your website has no information, it's going to be pretty basic. Still probably better than not answering the phone, though, I think.
If we say we're going to put this effort into training an employee that might leave, if we put the same effort into training our AI agent, we're going to have a sustainable thing that's going to get better and better over time. The latest thing that I'm super excited about is being able to email or text a customer, an answer to a question. Like if they said, I need some help setting a lawn spreader, we're going to be able to say, can we send you the spreader setting guide that has all the settings, in case they threw away the fertilizer bag or it got wet and they couldn't read it anymore. Being able to just send it to them right there. They could pull it up on their phone and immediately set the spreader the way they want. Or our seed starting guide that tells when do I plant carrots and when do I plant, onions, that kind of stuff. Those things are going to be, people are really going to embrace that.
Well, I'm excited to keep working on it. It's been a fun project. And what I appreciate the most, like I said, is the spirit of innovation and also the spirit of, hey, we're going to figure this out. It's not going to be perfect. And we're going to have to keep iterating it and, getting it to where you want. And you and Callie have been great to work with. So it's been really fun.
Well, thank you.
And I'm excited. I have to come to the Frisbee contest next year. That's a non-negotiable for me. And I love Boise. So I've spent time there and I know it's going to be nice in the Frisbee time. So
absolutely.
Well, I hope that you have a wonderful market.
We will.
And I'm excited to see what stories you find. I'm going to call you next week and figure out what you found here that struck your fancy. But I hope you have a wonderful time in Indy. You're going to a big basketball game tonight.
We're going to go see the Fever play.
Yeah. So I hope that they win and you get to maybe get you a jersey or something. And I will see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me on the Grit Blueprint podcast. Thank you for listening to the Grit Blueprint podcast. If this episode helped you think a little differently about how to show up, share it with someone in your building world who needs it. If you're ready to turn visibility into growth, then head to gritblueprint.com to learn more and book a call to talk to us about your growth strategy. Until next time, stay unmistakable.